The U.S. Supreme Court, meantime, appearing set to uphold a ban on biological men playing in women's and girls' sports, as both sides of the debate remain on edge. Constitutional law attorney, Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley weighing in on the ruling.
From the head count I made, it seemed like they did have a likely 5-justice majority at a minimum, but we'll have to wait to see. These states, Idaho and West Virginia, said that, look, we believe that California and other states can go ahead and let these transgender athletes play sports, that we agree that they have a right to make that decision, but so do we. We want to keep these sports separate according to birth to your sex at birth, and that did not go over well with the liberal justices who felt that this could still be a form of discrimination.
Former Arizona Supreme Court Judge Andrew Gould joins us now. Always great to have you. And
thank you, Kevin.
This is one of those. I'm predicting 6-3, maybe it's 5-4. How do you see it? Because the debate really is about equal protection on one hand, and others talk about fairness and safety.
Well, there are two bigger questions in this in terms of what is a protected class in terms of civil rights law. Kevin, if I were to point you to the question that's the crux of the matter, it was Justice Alito's question to the ACLU attorney, what is a woman? Which she could not define. And if you can't define a woman, then how can you have civil rights protections for women? And it breaks down to almost legal gibberish. If you can't define women, if you can't define race, if you can't define minors or parents, then we don't have any civil rights protections and we don't have any laws to enforce. It's interesting to me that the longest speaking justice in this oral argument was Justice Ketanji Brown, who during her confirmation hearings couldn't define what a woman was then. I was on the bench for a long time, and one thing I noticed with judges, the longer they talk, the more they know they're wrong. And she talked for a long time because she knows she's wrong. It's an indefensible position.
Not only that, it was gibberish. Just listening to some of the responses, it just didn't make sense, and sort of fluttering around some of the legal precedents and not really drilling down on the argument here. I found it just fascinating is one way to put it, bemusing might be another, and frustrating for so many. Meantime, I want to get your reaction to this. We've been talking at length about the president's tariffs and how that is going to be decided here fairly soon as well. I think the argument from the White House's perspective is, listen, we have been tariffed by other nations. Frankly, this is not something that Congress should be weighing in on. They have a separate function. On the other hand, there have been others who've said, listen, we have to rein in the executive here. It's a fascinating debate. I would love to get your take on where you think this might go.
Sure. Well, I mean, the bottom line is judges have to use common sense. And I think President Trump has been very good appointing judges who exercise common sense. Now, you cannot strike down the president's authority to impose tariffs. It would be a disaster for the worldwide economy. It would destroy the United States economy, and it would completely undercut the president's authority on the national stage. So they're going to come up with a common sense ruling here. And what I see is two issues, going forward and looking back. Going forward, what is the nature of the president's authority? And at bottom, Kevin, they're going to let the president still be able to impose tariffs. They may impose some limitations on it. There's another statute that he can use. But presidents have imposed tariffs for national emergencies and other circumstances for hundreds of years, literally back to the early 1800s. The other question is, what do they do going back, these refunds that people may want? And what the court, I think, is going to do is say, look, these agreements that are in place are grounds not to give a refund. So going back, the agreements themselves are going to be upheld because the president can certainly enter agreements and they can't unwind those. And going forward, they're going to tell him, here are some limitations on his authority. But at the end of the day, they're going to let him use tariffs and they're not going to unwind these deals. It would be a disaster to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I know that the poly markets have been suggesting that maybe they're leaning in the other direction. But I think you're right. To unravel and unwind all this would be a calamity for the economy, to say nothing of the fact that, being honest, we have been subject to similar tariffs across the globe. That is, former Arizona Supreme Court Judge Andrew Gould. A real pleasure. Thank you for your time today. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Kevin. You too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.